asking questions, had the attention being drawn to it, he was not happy. And he kept on and on and on and on and on and on, wanting to control the process. But you do not control the process while the chair is there. And so it's like, if you would not allow me to control the process,
right,
then everything you say will be interpreted as you gagging me and all that.
I see. Now
he's gagging you and controlling the process. So what? He's supposed to do so. If it had been Joe Wise in that seat, would President Mahama have had that guts to behave the way he did? I think that, look, it is an overwhelming majority for the NDC, and I'm advising them that notwithstanding, they should guard against what Aristotle referred to as tyranny of majoritarianism. You are not supposed to, just because you have all the powers, gag the minority. But at the same time, the minority group must also know its place. It can never be minority tyranny over the majority. It cannot happen. That is not democratic. And so let Afenyo Marken be cancelled and let him appreciate the fact that he is not the one controlling affairs at the committee. The chairperson, the chairman, reserves the right to control whatever goes on there. If he cannot tolerate, if he cannot humble himself under the chairmanship of Bernard Ahiapo, he is free to walk out of that committee.
Prof, you have taught political science. You have followed the politics of this country, from parliament to the executive to the judiciary and all the spaces in between. Dr. Gideon Boako, MP for Tano North constituency, who took over from Frida Prempeh, is a first-timer. Under 10 days, he has already convened a press conference, and he was slamming the first deputy speaker of the 9th Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. How does that sound to you?
He is a friend. I've been annoyed about his also hasty and
Sunrise on 3FM, the best in the morning.
A certain popularity for himself. And because he is a friend, I wanted to call him directly and tell him that Russia will be king. And so he should take his time. It is not about just being in a hurry to be saying things. When Bawumia was the running mate of Ghana, when Bawumia was the vice president, where was he? Why was he not talking the way he was talking? How did they run the country? How come he was there and they ran the country aground in a manner that elicited the revulsion of Ghanaians against their party? Where was he? And so it's not about being in a hurry to be heard. I told Kifie Jabin once upon a time that he was rushing on Russia or Bixi, and we saw what was happening to him afterwards. And I'm telling him that in Parliament, as a young first-timer, you take your time to learn your ropes. And then also the idea of sounding holier than thou, and sounding very competent, when in actual fact, you know no clue about economic management and governance. I'm saying so because if you knew how to do it, you would have acquitted and discharged yourself in a manner that would have endeared your party to Ghanaians. Given the way a manner Ghanaians voted, they told you plainly in the face that you don't know anything, so go and sit down and lick your wounds. And so the point is that these are the guys who still do not douse the anger of Ghanaians against the MPP by their arrogance and the kind of hasty public utterances that they make in the public. Ghanaians now expect that you go sit down and think about how you can restructure your party. And so it is not in their place to be offering these kinds of hasty criticisms. Let them go and think about how they can rescue the soul of their party from the claws of Akufo-Addoism. And then let them think about how they can rebuild their party to restore the party to its tradition. After they've done that, and they have sat down quietly and calmly to learn the rudiments of governance under this administration, then they can come up with certain criticism. But for now, they are rushing. And I'm saying, when I hear some of them talk, I wonder, are these people, do they appreciate the line of voting, or do they appreciate the decision of Ghanaians? It appears that they don't appreciate. And the more they do some of these things, the more they make people angry. And the more they make Ghanaians angry, the more they would prolong their stay in opposition. I expect a certain humility from them. Ghanaians have rejected you. Go sit down and interrogate the reasons why you were rejected. And then go sit down and rebuild your party. It will take you about 1, 2, 3 years to do so. Leave these kinds of criticisms to civil society and opinion leaders who appreciate some of these issues. When they were heading towards opposition, some of us, we knew and we told them.
Right.
We had analyzed everything that they were doing, and we had analyzed the height of their incompetence, and we knew they were going. And so we are better placed to offer credible opposition and constructive criticisms to the administration that is in government now, more than those of you who know nothing and you still want to rise to be heard. I think that let it be known to him that this is not a time. He's a fine gentleman, and it is not about rushing to be heard, rushing to be known, and rushing to be known in Parliament and be heard in Parliament. Take your time; it will get your turn. That is their own party's tradition. Their own party's tradition require that people who are seeking to be heard, people who are seeking to be at the top echelons of leadership, must bid their time. It is during Akufo-Addo's time that he tried to supplant and to undermine that tradition of bidding your time, and that was one key reason that explained or accounted for their monumental defeat in the last election. And so let him, as I'm advocating that the party must restore its creative tradition. One of its tradition is people bidding their time. So let him learn, let him bid his time, let him not rush. Rush shall be tea.
I see. Prof, yes, you have seen the Parliament of the Republic of Ghana, the 9th Parliament that is. Are we in for a roller coaster ride or a smooth ride?
Oh, come again. You are breaking. You said,
I'm saying that we have seen the 9th Parliament. I mean, at this teaching stage, we have seen the vetting of 3 ministers. We have seen some of the debates in Parliament. Are we in for a roller coaster ride or a smooth ride? What do you see?
Oh, is it the mandate given to this Parliament? Is I'm not saying that, but just yesterday I was teaching my students ancient and medieval political thought class. I was teaching them about some of these things as espoused by Aristotle. The mandate that has been given to the majority side is so overwhelming. They can do without opposition, but that is not the way to go. They can do without opposition, but that is not the way to go. So Aristotle argues for majority rule in every democratic practice. But he says that there should be no tyranny of majoritarianism. What he means by that is that the fact that there should be majority rule and majority would always have its domineering say and all that does not mean that they must also relegate completely the background, the views and contributions of the minority. And so I am saying it is important that the majority asserts itself and let the minority know that they run the show. But in so doing, it should not be part of the majority to say that because of that, you don't matter. They should let this be known to them quite straightforward right from the beginning. And I'm sure that when this happens, the minority would understand, because they must know that as it used to happen, they can be working out. But work out is also part of parliamentary practice. They can work out if they don't want to. But I'm not looking forward to the minority always working out. I'm looking forward to having a majority that will be conciliatory, a majority that will not want to bulldoze its way or abuse its powers by unnecessarily downplaying and disregarding the minority group. But the minority group must be told and be warned that they just left power and positions just switched, and they must be warned to appreciate the fact that they are not in the majority and they do not control anything in Parliament. It is Parliament, it's the majority leader in Parliament and the members of the majority group who are in the majority. And so they decide, and they would always have to elicit the contributions of the minority to enrich their decisions. But it is not up to the minority group to be dictating and to want to be controlling things like Fenyo Markin was trying to do, on the vetting committee. I'm saying that he needs to be cancelled to appreciate the fact that he's not the majority leader. He needs to be cancelled to appreciate that even if Bernard Ahiafo is not that articulate and that giddy, he cannot usurp his powers by wanting to control how things go because the guy is calm. So some of us, we are cancelling the guy that, look, he should assert his authority. He should be firm and fair, of course. He should be firm. He should never allow anybody, any haughty politician to want to usurp and control affairs, on the floor of Parliament, and also, in the activities and in the functioning of the vetting committee.
Now, members of the committee are 11. The chairman of the appointment committee allowed for friends and other visitors of the committee to ask questions. He extended all those courtesies for them. And even with that, we saw the press conference by a good friend, Gideon Boako. Should the chairman return to the status quo ante, where friends of the committee are just spectators and not citizens? They come and sit and watch and not ask questions or make comments. Should he go back to that?
Well, so like I said, Gideon rushed. I didn't see the reasoning behind what he sought to do beyond the fact that he was trying to announce that he's also there, which is unnecessary. But I would not want the chairman, Bernard Ahiafo, to be moved and to be infuriated by what has happened. He should still open the opportunity for friends of the committee who have questions to ask. But in so doing, he must also be fair and firm in regulating and controlling what happens. If you are going overboard, he should assert his authority regardless of what anybody says. If he has to rein you in, if he has to correct you, if he has to check you, if he has to stop you, he should go ahead and do it.
Professor Ransford Jampo, I thank you very much indeed for your time. He's a seasoned political science lecturer at the University of Ghana, Legon, and he joined us here this morning. Oya Woja Tabiole, Kedaobana, Adani Best.